Oh, there
no.
and he's back. Okay, there. I think you're back. You're
good?
back to. I think so.
Brilliant.
Great start to the podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I think the big news, apart from 1,000 questions, so before we started this recording, just to give everyone context, is that Harry was sat on the link that we sit to record this on, dropped his in-ear in his tea. Is it tea?
Yeah, it's coffee, yeah.
Oh, there you go,
yeah.
coffee. And then continued to put that in your ear.
Yeah, well, it's like one of those sort of things that people pay a lot of money to go on, retreats and stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant like you've been framed.
No, they put sort of coffee in various orifices and it's a whole thing.
I should have actually come in with some like really calm music, being yes, this is what I expect.
It's like, who's the weird one for not putting coffee in their ears?
Don't turn this around on me.
It's like, This is a very modern podcast where we put beverages in our ears.
And that's the third and final episode.
Is this the best we could come up with?
I genuinely think it is.
I think this as well.
I mean, in better news, at least by this point, obviously the listeners at this stage would have heard 3 episodes and they know the name because we've just uploaded it under the name.
Yeah.
But for context to us, we've come up with the name.
We have come up with a name.
Which is my plan is ...
My plan is ... Yeah. We won't probably say the ... every time.
No, we definitely won't.
Should we explain why we've got the name? What we thought?
Yeah, go on then. It was mostly you, if I'm honest. It was mostly your idea.
Well, I had to have an idea sooner or later.
That didn't come from someone else's.
I did check this, by the way. I did check it.
And it's funny because you checked it and I didn't.
Oh,
so
right.
we completely switched.
Well, go on. That's fine. I was thorough. Yeah, so the idea of My Plan Is as a name was that, a lot of us as freelancers, whether we're musicians or we do other stuff, generally our plan is ourselves, really. And I originally came up with the name My Plan Is Me, which we weren't 100% sure about. And taking the me off just kind of left it a little bit more open for interpretation.
And then I decided it would be a great idea to say ... every single time. ...
because, an ellipsis is an underused piece of grammar.
Exactly. And who wants to say the word ellipsis? What would make you put a ... versus a ...
I never put a ... I don't know what that's for, really.
No, fair enough. So I've seen people do like ...
setting up for a smiley face or something. When I say set it up for a smiley face, like that's a big undertaking.
Wait, what do you do for your smiley face?
Sometimes it is in life.
But I'd like to know, listeners, if there's any way of contacting us, and I don't know if there is yet as I've recorded this podcast, then I'd love to know if you put a ... or a ... And if you put 4, then just don't bother.
I don't know about that, to be honest. I don't know.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I didn't know if that was like a thing I've missed, but no. I just sound like an idiot now. But
I mean, yesterday I sounded quite sort of idiotic generally throughout the day, really.
Right, which perfect segue. You should do podcasts.
I should.
What did you do yesterday? Because all I know that you were in London and that you had a terrible day, and now we're here.
Yeah, well, it wasn't so much a terrible day. So bits of it, the stuff that I needed to get done got done and was fine. But it was the surrounding, mainly the travel. But before I get to that, there were some other bits.
Oh, here we go.
Yesterday was quite long, basically. I didn't get home till sort of 12:15. But basically, it all started. Woke up quite early after another not very good night's sleep, which tends to be the norm at the moment. And I started working quite early, got quite a lot of stuff done in the morning, and then tried to fix the washing machine because that wouldn't drain. So I was trying to drain that from the front. At one point, I was trying to use an empty milk bottle and a funnel, which didn't really work.
Is that like mine, where for some reason the emptying thing is next to the floor?
Yeah.
But you can't put anything up. Yeah.
No, you can't do it down unless you put a big hole in the floor just in front of your washing machine as like a sort of bath or, trough or something like that in case the washing machine doesn't drain. So I was doing that for a while, emptying about 50 millilitres of water at a time with the pipette that I could fit underneath the valve thing. So, I had a bit of that going on, but, kind of moved on from that.
We made it work.
Then it got to the time that I needed to go out, catch a train to London. I was like, oh God, I've left this a bit late. I was doing other stuff. I'd quickly made some lunch, nice tasty little chicken sandwich,
nice.
Some really tasty tomatoes. And I was like, oh God, I need to get my bag. I need to get my Mac and all that stuff. Mac is in the laptop, not the waterproof overgarments. So I went into the utility room, which is I don't know why I said which is. It's a utility room to get my bag off the hook, ready to pack it, and knocked my 2023 iPad Pro 12.9 inch straight onto the very hard floor.
Case, no case.
Case, but it just smashed to bits.
Oh no.
Yeah, it still worked, but
it's a goner.
Screen just ruined. And I had 3 minutes before I needed to leave the house. So I was like, oh God, really annoyed. iPad, whatever. Close the case. I was like, I can fix this another time. I'll sort this out tomorrow. Get a quote, get it repaired. Fine. Just as I was about to leave, I realised that I was still dressed in my sort of what I call my homeless people clothes. My sort of gym stuff. Like trackies or whatever. Yeah. I was like, I'm meant to be meeting human beings for dinner. I can't be wearing Adidas. So I realised this, and as I realise, and I'm already cutting it fine for the train, the window cleaner pulls onto our drive and blocks both my cars in.
Oh no!
And I was like, and I didn't want him.
Wait! Just move it. Wait.
And I'm going to be very careful how I say this. I didn't want him to get his hose out prematurely and then not be able to move.
We've all been there. We've had a weak moment.
Yeah. So I told him to jump in the shower. No. Set it to cold. No. So I realised, as he pulled onto the drive, I was like, I need to get changed incredibly quickly. So I chucked some jeans on, ran upstairs, chucked some jeans on, came back down, trying to just get my boots on and whatever, put my jacket on. Asked him to move the van quickly so I could get out. Got in my car, and as I was setting up Waze to get me to the train station, I realised that my train had been cancelled.
Oh no! After all of this,
the train that I've been rushing for. So, of course, you get an email that says, book another train. I was like, great. So I quickly did that. My train was originally 13:47, 1:47, and that was going to be cutting it fairly tight. Yeah, gave me about 7 or 8 minutes to get from the car park to the train. I realised that what I'd done in my haste was accidentally booked a train for 13:36. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. And I had Waze on, and it said I was going to get to the car park 13:36. I was like, oh God, Now I know the route to Birmingham very well. I know what lane to be in at all times. I know where people are likely to turn off, and it's going to cause a little thing and you have to move over.
Is this going to be some incriminating, glad we're recording this?
All I'll say is that a 2011 Honda Jazz will do 65 in second.
In second? I think I can hear it screaming still.
I don't know why. I don't know at what point you would need that. Well, actually, no, I do know what point you would need that. Yesterday, you would need it.
In my head, I've got that classic thing like the Honda Civics, where suddenly you're just in the Honda Jazz with an open face helmet on, just ripping into second gear.
Yeah. So, anyway, and when you're watching the sat-nav and you're like, I can shave a minute off here. I can shave a minute off.
Cut in the corner. Like Formula 1 car. Hit on curb.
It got, I was like, okay, train's at 1:36. And it got down to 1:35. I was going to get to the car park. I was like, I need to get it to 1:32. I was like, if we can get to 1:32, I've got a chance.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, 1:32.
It's only driving. 3 minutes.
I kept driving. I know where I'm parking.
Still not in third.
still top of second. And it was getting I was getting close to Brum, and I was shaving minutes, and it would go 34, then back to 35, then 33, back to 34, and it was to and fro, and got down to 13:32, and I got lucky with a traffic light, and I was like, this is great. Just by 5 ways roundabout in Birmingham.
Got lucky with a traffic light in the way that it was still red, but you still went.
I got lucky with a traffic light. And that brought it down to 13:31, and I was like, right, I'm in with a chance here. This is it. And I was saying aloud in the car by myself, don't mess this up. Like I had any control of what was going on.
You'd adjusted the rearview mirror to look at you.
Yeah. Yeah, sit with this, live with this. And anyway, I get to the car park, and it's like a multi-story.
Yeah.
And I was like, please let me be parking on the bottom floor. Please. No parking. Come around the corner. There's a car coming the other way, so I have to swerve out of the way. And then there's no parking on the first floor. Go around the next one, somebody backing in incredibly slowly in a BMW. I was like, you are taking the piss now. Got to the third floor, finally found a space, threw the jazz in there like it was, I don't know, some kind of drift competition.
Around the upwards ramp.
I grabbed my bag, which had my laptop in it, and in my brown leather boots and brown leather jacket, when I say I sprinted from the car park, I mean like I sprint to the point where a pedestrian that I ran past shouted, "Be careful!" as I ran past. And I went through the gate. I had my phone like ready, you know, as I was running. I was like, got it on the little barcode thing to get through the gate. I knew what platform it was. I sprinted down, and I just about got on this train by like 30 seconds. Now, I'm mildly asthmatic. I'm in reasonable shape, pretty fit, but I'm mildly asthmatic, and sprinting from cold is never a good shout. So my breathing wasn't very good, and I was sitting like, you know, on a really busy train that was much slower than the train I was meant to be on.
Did you make someone get up and move from the disabled spot so you could sit there?
Fortunately, I didn't have to do that. But I sat on this train. I was like, oh God, you know. So I started Googling iPad repairs. Found a quote, 250 quid to get the iPad screen fixed.
iPad repairs, not new gearbox for Honda.
Honda was loving it. It was all over. It was all over it, mate.
As you're running away, it was also going, come back.
No, more. I'll do 93rd.
Just watch me.
Please.
Open the boot for a spoiler. It's great.
So, yeah. 250 quid to get the iPad repaired. I was like, I'll take that in tomorrow. Fine. I can sort that. I was like, the iPad is sorted, in my opinion. I'm sorted.
Yeah, job done. It's fixed by this point.
Exactly. So anyway, get down to London. We went out for this dinner, and that was all great. But one of the things was, it was this restaurant, and you had to put your phone in the locker with your coat and stuff. You weren't allowed phones, yeah?
Wow.
So come out. I get my phone. It's like 8:30. My train back is at 9:30. Pick up my phone. Train cancelled. I was like,
classic.
Great. Somebody I was with was like, oh, there's another one at 9:05 instead of, or 9:06 I think it was, instead of 9:30. You can make that. I was like, great, I'll book it. Book that. Get on the tube. I was like, 2 tubes. One is one stop, and I was like, the other one is also one stop.
What lines?
I don't know. I don't know. The purple one and Northern.
Okay. The important one is the one that you remembered there.
Yeah.
Northern.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it's one stop on the first one stop on the second one, back to Euston. I was like, great. Missed the first tube by like seconds, just doors closing as I get there. I was like, okay, this is okay. This is okay. This is all right. Get on that one, get to the next tube station, sprint across the tube station, which just happens to be, I think, the largest one in the world. I think you could drive a bus through it. Like,
I like to think at this point that you just ran. You had like half an hour, but you just ran for fun. You're like, I'm here at this point.
I was really going for it, you know. And get to the second, platform, realise it's not one stop to Euston, it's 3. I'd got it wrong. It's 3 stops. I get to Euston at 9:04. Train's at 9:06. I mean, again, sprint, leather jacket, laptop bag on my back, and sprint to the platform. I get to the platform at 9:05 and 30 seconds, and they've closed the gate.
Oh, because doors close 45 seconds before departure.
Yeah. So me and a load of other riled up brummies were like, well, what's going on here? Or why can't we get on the train? And all that kind of stuff was going on. So I went on the app to try and cancel the ticket. Obviously, I couldn't do that. So I had to pay for that ticket that I didn't use, which I'd booked, half an hour before.
Yeah.
And then had to book a third ticket for an extra £48.50 to get home, which was then on a much slower train.
So more expensive and slower.
With a change at Derby.
Everyone loves Derby. What are you talking about? It's lovely.
And that was where I think things really, really took a strange turn. And that was where I messaged you and said...
in the story.
At this point, at this point, I sent you a voice message saying, just to let you know, I've not had the best day. I'm paraphrasing. Not had the best day. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's podcast. I've got some great content lined up. But just so you know, I'm not going to get home till very late tonight. Might be a little bit tired. And then I sent you this voice note, which basically just made me look absolutely ridiculous. This is the voice note.
Also, I have no idea why the musical stylings of Sister Sledge was playing through the entire of my voice note. It's not open on my phone. I don't have it on Spotify. I just listened to that back, and it's completely mental.
The reverb, beautiful.
And then I sent you this one.
Just realised that the musical stylings of Sister Sledge were not playing through my voice note. It was actually playing on my phone while I was listening to the voice note. So now you have even less idea what I'm talking about. But I'm at Rugby train station, and I should have been on a train that would be approaching Birmingham very soon. But instead I'm not. I started work at 8 a.m. today, and we'll get home at midnight.
That was, 10:30 p.m.
It was about 10:30, yeah. My last train was at 10 to 11. Got home 12:15, and then couldn't sleep. So, and here we are.
I like how during this whole time, like, you're having this manic day. And to give context to the listeners as well, like, I'm not the best at replying to voice notes on a good day. What happens is I'll have, like, chunks of my day that I can actually properly reply, and then I just won't, unless it's like a text message, just because I like to sit down, I like to listen to it, you know. So yesterday for Harry, we were talking in the morning, and then I think you left, and then I just didn't reply until this morning. So all of those voice notes I got in like one chunk of 5 voice notes. I just got to listen to one after the other, which was incredible. But the best bit about all of this, while you're ripping up 65 in second year, I, on the other hand, had a day off where I am enjoying the beautiful weather. I'm on a paddleboard, just floating my way.
Where'd you even get one of those?
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
So I'm just having this beautifully calm day. I'm like, it's a little bit windy, but that's all right. Well, you're just, I can do this. I am the chosen one. And yet, so, how much did yesterday cost you? Like, with all 5,000 tickets?
It was quite expensive. I think yesterday, including the repair of the iPad, I probably spent about 400 quid.
Can I ask the question of how much did you make yesterday?
No, you can't ask me that.
Just put a 0 somewhere, and that's probably correct.
Yep.
No other numbers.
You can place the decimal point any way you want.
It doesn't
Make
matter.
any difference.
You can even turn it on its side and make a smiley face, but it won't do anything.
You can put as many zeros after the fact as you want.
Wow.
So the little dot will get you.
So what's your day-to-day looking like?
Today's busy, actually. Today is prep because I'm going to America on Monday.
Yes,
and I won't be home for 19 days.
Ooh.
So
that means look at the house, be like, that's clean enough, and then leave. That's what I like to do.
I realise that my garden is quite overgrown.
And I
need to kind of spend some time on it, and I'm not going to get that time really. So it's going to be worse when I get back.
Yeah. Again, that's a nice surprise that I like, where I'm like, I need to mow right now. But I also need to simultaneously.
So you put The Simpsons on.
Yeah, I sit there. I put my homeless people clothes on, and
watch a bit of mow.
And then I just ignore all my problems, and then leave for like 2 weeks, and then come back and go, oh, that isn't actually that bad.
I knew mine was getting bad the other day when
you couldn't see beyond the door.
Yeah. When I got home, and to be honest, our back gate isn't quite fitted properly at the moment.
Oh, my back fence is all over the shop. Carry on.
There were 2 small deer in our garden. Why are there balloons? Sorry, as I said garden, some balloons appeared on my screen.
Oh, that's the best thing I've ever seen. Oh, dear. Oh, wow.
That was great.
Good. I don't know what your Mac's got something against you today. It knows about the iPad.
I don't know how to summon the balloons. That's the problem.
Oh God, this is all over the shop. I love it.
Yeah,
I've completely forgot what I was going to say. The deer in the garden.
Yeah.
And that's
I took a picture. I took a picture of them.
But all you can see is grass. You can't.
Yeah, I didn't solve the issue. I just took a picture of them.
And then watched The Simpsons. It was lovely.
That's great.
And then I realised I had to leave, and I knocked my iPad off. And the difference there is that where I live on a farm.
Do you? This is coming out. Here he is with his paddleboard and his farm.
I know this guy. Who is this
in
guy?
his little wellies.
In my they light up every time I step. I love it. In my defence, I did say the last episode of the episode before I live in the countryside, and I am very in the countryside. Yeah, we live on a farm, and sometimes they have sheep basically in our garden. So our garden goes back into a field, and they've just basically fenced off our garden, but the whole field is for sheep. So the problem is that we're having at the moment is that they like to scratch against the fence. It's very cute and it's very funny, but they've knocked it down. So when I see wildlife in my garden, the problem is I'm very used to that. So one day something's going to happen and just appear, and I go, yeah, that's fine. That's nature. Oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, get out of my house. Oh my, and it's not going to be good.
Maybe if I had some sheep, they would eat the grass and I wouldn't have to mow it.
Get sheep. Please get sheep.
Yeah.
That is the only reasonable explanation that you could possibly do. The best time is lambing season, which we just passed, when they have, obviously lambs. That's what happens.
That's what they have, yeah.
In lambing season. Yeah, so they say. So it basically means that we have, obviously, a field of lambs. Who'd have thought? But they stay with their mothers. But
is that a metal band, is it, Field of Lambs?
With Thief of Joy, yeah.
Thief of Joy support.
I don't know how we can. Well, our original plan for this episode was to talk about burnout, but I'm not really sure how we can turn this around.
I don't know how we segue from that. So I think one of the main things that we probably encounter with the sort of work that we do is those kind of days, a bit like yesterday.
Yeah.
Where you have to kind of plan several days in advance. Like for me, I got I'm going to London tomorrow actually, and then I've got a gig on the night. Nowhere near London. In Hereford, which is like nowhere near anywhere. So,
sorry, people of Hereford, but it's your own fault.
Yeah, a couple of buildings or something.
Sheep.
Wouldn't have got to miss.
In the
But they got the cows over there. They like them.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Not quite Highland cows, but cows
Lowland,
nonetheless.
Midland cows.
There's no Midlands. We've talked about this. There's North and the South. That's it. There's no middle.
But like, I've then got a gig on Saturday in Bath as well, or Bath, whichever one else is going to call it. I'm going to carry on with Bath because represented. And then like it's back to London Sunday, and then like America Monday, and obviously that's a fairly heavy week. It's not always like that, but like I think one of the main things from doing a variety of things is that you do have these kind of like just strange schedules and these weird like gear prep days, like today I've got to make sure I've got my suit and my shirt for tomorrow, make sure I've got my in-ears packed so that I haven't dropped in any kind of hot drinks, make sure I've got the right kit stuff, and then like a spanner in the works is I need my iPad for tomorrow, and now I haven't got it because it won't be repaired till Saturday, so I'm going to have to use my Mac and download all the notes for, you know what I mean? And it's like, how do you deal with kind of organising for
life,
for gigs and for life? Yeah,
not very well, if I'm honest. Like, I think, I say not very well. I generally try and be an organised person. So obviously I live by my calendar. If it's not my calendar, it doesn't exist. And that's a rule that has done me many favours and many terrible things. So, but it's like, I think about, I've got a similar-ish weekend, minus the America bit. Funny enough, as I look at my calendar, in like about a month, where I've got 3 different gigs and 3 different scenarios over 3 days. So I've got a nice theatre gig, and then I go to a function over in Essex, and then I go to the Sausage and Cider Fest. I think that's also in Essex. But the problem is, I can't stay in Essex. I have to then come back, change gear, different outfit, then go back to Essex. And it's one of those things where I really struggle with this side of freelancing and being self-employed, in the sense of like, those 3 days are going to be big days, and especially on gigs where you don't start sometimes, unless it's lots of travel, until the evening. Yeah. And like throughout the day, it's like, I feel like I should be doing something because everyone else is doing something, especially on a gig day that's on like a Thursday or a Friday. Even though I'm doing a full day's work, if not longer, in the evening, plus travel. And so I only in the last year or so, I've really started to like struggle with this, and what led to burnout at the end of last year, which was like, I then feel like I should do something in the day, and then organise my gear, and then I go to a gig, and then I come back, go home, go to sleep, and then I have the same cycle for the next day and the next day, no matter how many gigs there are. And then I also struggle with having days off where I'll do those 3 days, but on a gig, it's also kind of like a hangout because I like all the people that I generally play with. So I'm hanging out with them, we're playing a gig, stuff like that. So then I'll come back. It'll be like Monday or Tuesday, so all like normal people have started their natural week, and everyone's like, we're back on Monday. And I'm like, but I need a day off, but it's also Monday, so I should start a new week and do, it's this vicious cycle that I have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always seen, like, where possible, Monday is the weekend for me, where possible. Not always possible, often not possible. But particularly if I've gigged on a Sunday, and if I've been out all weekend, then I'll try and take Monday as that day. But like saying that Monday is your weekend, most people do 2 days of weekend, plus the Friday evening often. So if you're out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it can be a real killer. I mean, one of the things that I've been a big advocate for was like, anything you can do to make your life easier, I think is worth doing, particularly if it's going to be like a long-term thing. So, for example, gig-wise, I've got 2 sets of everything.
Yeah.
I've got a kit that never moves at home, so nothing has to be taken off that ever. And then I've got a kit that's always in cases, in the cupboard, ready for gigs. And it's always there, and I know everything's there with it. Everything's in the bag. I don't need to check anything before I pack the car. As long as I count 7 cases, I know I've got everything. I find that really helps. And even things like, one of my microphones I was using for recording and then using for gigs. It's like, just get another one. Like, just stop that. Like, I've got to remember to pack that every time. Or, I've got to remember to set it back up before I'm recording, things like that. Just, it makes a huge difference on your, on your mental load, really, I think.
I agree. And it's like, even... There you go, snap. I think even like little stuff.
It's because it's early.
It is, I agree. And hard cut.
I say early. It's 10:15.
Don't tell the people this. It's 6:15 a.m. I think is like the big thing that helped me as well is doubling up on everything. So I'm saying I've got kits that stay here. The only thing I haven't doubled up on yet is cymbals because they're very expensive.
I have.
Oh, this guy.
He is.
But even like making a list where there's so many times where I think if any gigging musician or professional that has a lot of equipment sat in the car, you've just set off and you go, have I got everything? I feel like I haven't got everything. And you go, the mental checklist in your head. I think it's just like, I guess relieving is the right word. Relieving that pressure of having the list of like, everything on my list is ticked. Yeah. I haven't forgot anything. Therefore, I can just put that thought out of my head and just essentially enjoy the drive or enjoy the journey.
Definitely, and like I will not check it off until it's in the car as well. Don't check it off when it's by the front door or whatever, and I've got like a list app on my phone that you just tick and untick. So like for the next thing, just untick them all again. Yeah, and then I'm ready. And I've got different lists for different gigs. If I'm doing a function gig, add in-ears onto the list and add my suit onto the list, and maybe a couple of shirts and whatever. If it's a Ricky Cool gig, add Tim Barley's onto the list. If it's a Space Cowboy gig, add, it's all the percussion stuff. Because otherwise you just find that it just goes around in your head all the time. Oh, I've got to remember this, So like for this weekend, I've got 3 lists on the go now. I've got my gigging list, I've got my tomorrow list for what I'm doing in London, and then I've got my Sunday list for when I leave for America. Without that, I'd just be all over the shop, really.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you'll be doing it 10 minutes. Well, we'll be packing 10 minutes before we leave anyway.
Yeah.
But at least with this, it's a list of, at least I know I have everything.
There's certain things that you can get away with forgetting, like if it's a power cable for your phone or something like that. Yeah. Just to accept occasionally, like if you need to buy it, you can buy it. Like, you know what I mean? Worst case, and leave plenty of time on your journey to make sure that you don't get stressed out. Make sure you got time to make it nice. I always say that make it nice has become a kind of staple sentence in my life, really. It's like anything I can do to just make it that little bit nicer. I don't worry about buying food out too much. I'm quite happy to spend money on food while I'm out. Yeah. Because I think if I'm working a 16-hour day, and one of the highlights of that is that I can get myself a nice lunch. It's like, well, actually, I'm willing to take, 10% out of my day, my money or whatever, or 5% or whatever it might be, and have a nice lunch. Like, if that's going to make the day better for me, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm not going to be like eating cold sandwiches out of a plastic tub because I'm trying to save a couple of quid. I just won't enjoy the day like that.
Exactly, yeah. And it's funny you say that because I had exactly that situation with a really good friend of mine and a keyboard player that we work with together a lot. And we started to set off kind of enough time in the journey so we know that we're going to stop, and deliberately stopping, and trying to aim for one of those beautiful services in the UK that have a lot of stuff, and sometimes with outside seating, especially this time of year. But it's just like, actually a journey is the part of it. We could try and do the normal thing, which I think all professionals go through, which is like, how late can I leave it? Because I spend the whole time wishing I was back at home. Or just set off a little bit earlier, get some tasty food. Like, don't worry about making it at home. Just, again, if you can, situation depending on it. It's just be like, cool, I've got a nice little treat for lunch. And it's generally that helps where, like, I'll eat relatively healthily throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So if it's a gigging weekend. And it's great. It's cool.
That's it.
Tasty KFC.
Tasty meals. I mean, this is a big thing I realised last year. I was always kind of concerned that I'm not doing enough. Like I'm always very hard on myself for like, oh, I could have got up earlier, I could have done more practice, or I could have done this, I could have done that. And I've started seeing things like, even with like going to the gym and stuff, I always think on much longer time scales. So if I was to judge it every week and say, this week I haven't done this, then I will drive myself mad, because it might be that week I have not been at home. So like, how could I, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of eat relatively healthy, or how could I, go to the gym if I'm not there? Like, I'm just, if I can go while I'm like working away, then great. And I'll take stuff with me to make sure I can do that, or go climbing or whatever I might want to do. But like, I will judge it on, this last 3 months, I've actually managed to be reasonably consistent. And whether that means that I went to the gym 3 times in 1 week, 4 times the next, and then didn't go for 2 weeks, you know what I mean? Like, over that period, it means I might have settled for 2 or 3 sessions a week, or whatever it might be. And actually, that makes me just feel a lot less kind of, well, like I'm failing at everything. Basically,
guilty, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's on that sort of vein as well. I did a similar thing where I just changed that mindset from, as like you're saying, like, oh, I didn't go to the gym this week or today or whatever it is, and instead I might have done nothing or looked at the sheep. And
look at the sheep.
Gotta look at the sheep. But it's actually then not twisting that, but changing that mindset to going, well, no, I didn't do that because I needed to recharge for the gig. I needed to actually rest. And that is really important. That's why I feel better now. Because if I'd gone to the gym, then I would have just like been really tired, not performed as well, and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
definitely. And like the other thing I've started doing as well a lot more is going out, like, because I work from home most of the time, just going out and like taking my laptop and just going to sit somewhere like a nice, coffee shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And just getting out for an hour in the day, like, because I find otherwise I won't sleep as well if I've been in all day, particularly in the winter if it's getting dark at 4 o'clock, and by the time I go out to do anything like with mates on the evening or whatever, then it's dark and like I haven't really seen the daylight. Obviously I'm sitting by a window, but like, it's not quite the same as being outside. So I find that makes a big difference as well. Just doing that and breaking that up a little bit. And what I'll tend to do is like wait for like a specific thing that I want to do. So it might be like edit a video and it's like I will go to the coffee shop, I'll have a coffee and I'll do that specific thing, and then I'll come home, rather than just seeing it as a kind of frivolous like, oh well I could save that 15-minute drive and practice some metronome based rudiment things.
I was like, what's he going to practice?
What's he going to practice? Hey, what do you practice? Hey, how'd you get so darn good? No. With all that practice, you should sound much better than... No.
He said... Oh, it's beautiful.
Ever play a paradiddle?
Clearly not. Maybe you
clearly not, you fool.
Anyway, I know we didn't really like touch on it, but just to sort of round us out, like, I might dive into the actual story of like burning out last year, because it was a really big, like, I took a hard reset on life. Like, I did the full quit the job and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's one of the things I know that I don't know, hopefully, maybe some of my old students will listen to this and they'll know that journey, but just purely from like, oh, he stopped working here and doing this sort of stuff. And it's one of those things where all of this has like amalgamated into life now, which is significantly happier and better. And it's not an overnight thing. It does take years of like mental arithmetic and gymnastics to get to this point. But I'll talk about that in the next episode, on the proper burnout episode, not the how to drive 60 miles an hour on 100 jazz in second gear episode, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean the interesting thing I think for both of us. I mean, I don't actually know how old you are.
Oh.
Well,
my surname's younger, so I'm gonna leave you with that.
That's a good point. But like, I'm probably 10 years into like a professional career.
Yeah.
Because I'm 28.
You don't look it.
Yeah.
You look forward. No,
It's been an easy life. Oh, hard life. No.
I actually went the opposite way.
Are you gonna bring that?
No, I thought I'd leave you because I can tell that you're doing all these leading sentences of like
My
you're trying to
camera is
lead
about
me
to
on
die.
to
I'm gonna stop it because it might corrupt the files.
At this point, we can't say anything that would result in a clip.
Not that that's ever happened before.
But no, like yeah, I mean, so I'm 26, so I'm only 2 years younger than you.
Bloody hell, I didn't know this.
There you go. See, it's all coming
You
out
don't
now,
look it. No.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, so I've
The old
been.
Jocelyn there, but the old Jocelyn.
Did I mention I go to the gym? So, but no, I mean, so I've freelanced for I think literally about 2 years less than you, so about 8 years.
Okay.
So I graduated this degree at 19. Yeah, about 8 years.
I didn't do a degree.
You don't need it. And this is coming from someone that was a lecturer of degree.
Of degree?
So, and I'll get into my thoughts, and I've said it out like this isn't like, oh my god, he said what? I'm very like, yeah. Anyway, another thing we can talk about in the next episode, but
Yeah.
my views as a university lecturer in a specialist music college of why I think you should not do a music degree. Great. Hired.
Yeah, that's good. We'll get sponsorship from them next. They'll be on the cards. I would imagine they'll be picking up the phones.
No, the degree was great. I will say it's not the reason why you think, everybody.
Oh.
I loved where I worked, but not
Was
the reason
that
why you think.
a bit of a cliffhanger, was it? Was that
Oh, yeah.
to entice the viewer?
Yeah, but now you just caught me at the bottom of the cliff being like, I've saved you!
Oh.
Let me fall! Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Save yourselves.
I'll talk about how I burnt out and why you shouldn't go to music college. Oh, well, you can go to music college. No, I'm not going to back on myself. I've said what I've said.
I'm not going to back on myself.
I've said what I've said.
Quote of the day. I'm not going to back on myself.
Goodbye, everybody.
So wait a minute. I think we should do a socials now because this is the third one. We should just do an Instagram.
Oh, sure.
Where can they find you?
So for me, it's at Harry Younger _drums or at Drum Electric.
Okay, and for me, it's at Harry Weston-C, which is Westonc after Harry.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. We're
Bye,
used
everybody.
to doing those. Bye bye.